Us now to talk about the charges against a Baltimore police officer's criminal defense attorney, Heather Hansen. She joins us now from Philadelphia. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Elaine.
Heather, why are we seeing charges against officers in this case in Baltimore versus with what happened with Michael Brown in Missouri, Eric Garner in New York, and some of the others? Is it the video or the differences in law and how these cases played out? Talk to us about why we're seeing some in this and not others.
There's many, many differences. To start with, the facts themselves are very different. In the Garner case and in the Michael Brown case most specifically, especially in the Michael Brown case, the evidence was that Michael Brown had actually attacked the police officer. That's what the grand jury found. That's the evidence that even the Department of Justice ultimately came to. Because of that, it was within reasonable action for the officer to respond the way that he did. Here, it would be far more difficult for these officers to argue self-defense. They were not in any danger. So that difference in that case is a huge one. In addition to that, those cases were brought to grand juries. They were brought before members of the public. Whereas in this case now, Mosby, the prosecutor in Baltimore, has decided on her own not to go to a grand jury, but rather to prosecute this case right away. I would imagine that she has a whole lot of evidence to be able to make that decision, because that's a decision that one does not take lightly, and that's a decision that she's going to have to support these charges that she's bringing forth. So I think that we will see evidence, maybe even some evidence where some of these officers are going to ultimately testify against each other.
And, you know, we're also seeing different charges among the 6 police officers. Is that a tactic to try to get those officers to testify against one another?
It may be in part, and it may also be that they've already provided information against each other. You see, the one woman of the 6 is only charged with 3 offenses, whereas the driver is charged with the most, including a charge of murder. So again, this is all speculation because we don't yet know the evidence. But from everything that we've heard, I would imagine that you will hear at least some testimony from some of these officers where they are implicating one another, perhaps in the hope of either a plea deal or less charges against them.
From the police officer's side, you know, the Baltimore Police Union is calling for an independent prosecutor. What do you make about that? Some critics have argued that perhaps Marilyn Mosby is too close to the case.
Listen, I thought that there should have been a special prosecutor in the Ferguson case. I personally believe that there should be a special prosecutor each and every time a police officer is involved in a shooting, because the people who have to pursue this case, the prosecutors, have to work with the police force day in, day out. It seems to me that across the United States, we should have a group that is meant just for these types of investigations. Here, I think a special prosecutor is absolutely called for. Mosby's husband is a city councilman, so she is not only herself politically connected with the police force, but her husband is also politically connected. He has to run for office. There are some reports out there that she has a relationship or has been supported by the family attorney who you just heard from. All of these things lend themselves, at the very least, to an implication of unfairness. And in cases like this, where we've had so many problems across the United States, we do not need an extra implication of unfairness.
So that being said, if it gets to this point, could those officers get a fair shake? Could they even have a fair trial in Baltimore?
You will see the first thing that will happen if these cases ultimately go to trial is moves for change of venue. I do not think that any defense attorney is going to want this case tried in Baltimore. The situation in Baltimore is so tense and so fraught with all kinds of animosity on both sides that if you're the defense attorney, the first thing you're going to do is try to get it out of Baltimore. If that motion to move the venue is not granted, I think that that would be an appealable issue.
All right, Heather Hansen joining us from Philadelphia. Thank you so much for your insight and your time.